Good afternoon, Mwaura and Kevin. Good evening, Olivier, joining us all the way from Singapore. Welcome to the Singapore FinTech Festival. Today, FinTechs are emerging in the region, improving financial inclusion and serving as a catalyst for innovation in other sectors, including payments, agriculture, infrastructure. Of fintechs in Africa, for example, over the last 10 years by about 24%. So as we get into this discussion, maybe Maura, can you introduce the solution that you're offering at the moment?
My name is Amora Ndichu. I'm co-founder of WapiPay Pte Limited. We are incorporated out of Singapore and Nairobi, Kenya. What we are technology provider that connects the two continents between Africa and Asia, specifically in regards to payments and trade commerce. I think if you look at the continent of Africa by itself, a net importer of goods and services to the tune of about $300 billion year on year. We see this growing, but what we saw was actually an opportunity to improve the rails of how payments flow between Africa and Asia.
So, Kevin?
My name is Kevin Kihara. I'm the Managing Director of Upepo Technology Company Limited. We deploy it, we connect it to the cloud, build business applications around it, we finance this infrastructure, and we derive critical value from the data that we get from the physical world accurately and at low cost. Our focus is the $150 million in non-revenue water sector through commercial and physical leaks, to which we are applying IoT smart meters to resolve this particular challenge. We are very grateful to be in this session.
Thank you, Kevin. Olivier?
Hi, Cheryl. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Monifor. Monifor, we're an enterprise software firm headquartered in sunny Singapore. Only on the side of fintech, and our mission is to help financial institutions, primarily retail banks, improve the digital banking services they offer, to making them more personalized, more engaging. And to do this, we've designed and built a data processing engine using data analytics, machine learning, and behavioral to deliver value-add content to the bank's customers. And it includes contextual insights, actionable recommendations.
Thank you, gentlemen. So we've seen fintechs becoming an important topic in the financial, also here in Africa. And existing banks, if we come down to the motherland, existing banks in Africa are exploring how to transform their profile and provide innovative products and solutions. So for you, Kevin, with your partnerships with banks.
In the case of Upepo, over the last 18 months, we've been doing a series of pilots to deploy these smart water meters at scale in 5 water utilities, and in particular with our partner Standard Chartered and Standard Chartered Ventures, 1,210 water meters. Doing is a form of revenue assurance through the Internet of Things, in which through the pilots and in different zones, revenue losses, which we can actually tap into and derive greater value, not only from reduction of the revenue losses, but also how water is being used, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic period. It's been a fascinating journey because across the continent, I think in Africa, we're one of the first firms to see at scale, particularly in Kenya, which is a particularly water-stressed country.
So same question to you, Paul. So go ahead.
Thank you very much. So the problem that we are addressing, we saw an opportunity as a gap, as I mentioned before. The rails that currently exist are very frustrating. The small businesses, the large corporates, both indigenous and foreign, who actually have to make payments, whether as single transactions or bulk payments, typically do not have the functionality of the rail. And two problems we're addressing there. One is speed, and the second is cost. When you look at speed, typical transactions on the existing rails will take you 3 to 4 days to settle. Cost, actually, people lose up to 15 to 20% because you're talking about 54 countries in different currencies converting into a base currency of US dollars, 7 countries out of Southeast Asia. So that problem of addressing the speed and the cost is really what we're addressing together with Standard Chartered. But how we've built a very superior technology on microservices with single API integration that manages FX, compliance, and finally net settlement. This technology is also connected to ACHs and local clearing. Singapore, Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam, and sort of created a smooth user experience and customer journey in terms of transaction, and the transaction gets to net settle. I think on the POC, one of the main objectives we're looking at is to how do we make this transaction below 5%. More importantly, how do we terminate the transaction within T+0? And I think so far it's going quite well.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Olivier.
Yeah. So in terms of pain points, when we started, we looked at the kind of capabilities which banks were offering to their customers. And I think it's quite fair to say that a relatively good level of digital services provided by financial institutions to their customers. But most of those services, mobile banking, mobile being huge generally, are very transactional. And there's, at the end of the day, little value adds truly helping the customer improve their day-to-day finances and the financial wellness. Pain points that we looked at initially, and really looking at it from both the perspective of the end user, the customer, the bank itself. And the customer is fundamentally potentially being a little bit lazy with their money or not wanting to spend too much time to manage it, but not minding having valuable insights in order to help improve. From a bank's perspective, there's been another factor as well, which has grown in importance, and we keep hearing this in Africa as well, is banks realizing that digitally are more profitable customers. So how to create digital engagement, how to create stickiness in the digital services that are offered is the pain points on the bank side, which we're. So for us, that was really a way to address this, and data is the key for a lot of those. Data-driven personalization to improve the content which the end customers are receiving, and that personalization that create more stickiness for the banks through their digital channels. So really the pain points around digital engagement and personalizations were the primary one that we're seeing, and really pretty much across Africa, the next level of engagement with our customers.
Thank you, Olivier. So SC Ventures is a platform and a catalyst innovation, invest in disruptive financial technology, and explore alternative business model. So in your view, how has SC Ventures helped bridge the gap and the bank? We can start with Paul.
You deal with treasury, compliance, operations, payments, corporate, retail. In a bank, those are about 7 to 8 departments. But when you work with, you're only dealing with one department, and being able to bring I think that has reduced the speed at which you've got into a POC. I think that has been quite encouraging to do and see. But also, understanding the wealth of experience that Standard Chartered has when it comes to things like managing compliance through the workshops and building out processes that actually end up making the system work faster, being able to understand sourcing of view, and all the way to net settlement into Asia.
Thank you, Paul. Olivier?
Yeah, well, I mean, banks are huge organizations, so pretty scary beast to get in touch with and to actually reach the right person. And to reach the right person at the right time when there is an actual business case. In our case, believe it or not, but we were already working with Standard Chartered Group in Asia. But it's such a large organization, very, very difficult to get your solution in the radar of the right people. And what was brilliant with the SC Venture FinTech Bridge is the clarity of entities in the group look as a specific business case with the business on board. Right? So not really technology folks or even business looking for problems to tackle, but really starting from a business problem. And that's really what we were really delighted to be engaged in the Venture FinTech Bridge, because it was structuring that engagement. And it was extending the reach that small entities like ours could have with a large organization. The process itself, we're not going to waste your time. It's going to be structured. There's going to be milestones that are crossed in terms of times and content. And sticking to this, it's extremely like ours working with banks where this is not always that straightforward. So it's really what for us the bridge has brought to our engagement with Standard Chartered Bank.
Thank you, Olivier. Kevin?
Working with Standard Chartered Ventures has provided us with 3 key advantages. Advantage is ability to scale, and the ability to scale particularly in one client site where there are about 81,000 water connections, of which an additional 21,000 are inactive and need replacement. In order for us to actually achieve that level of CapEx in SC Ventures has been a tremendous partner in that regard in order to actually put the business case forward for which proves the case for the wider rollout. The second major advantage which Standard Chartered Ventures has brought us, the ability to think through the overall model as an asset finance or lease model in the future. And then the third has been that as a partner, they have been able to unlock certain doors with other partners in the IoT tech ecosystem, including telcos, the water utilities, and governments. The end play of this, 3.2 million IoT water meters in Kenya. I think it will be the largest IoT rollout on the continent, if not one of the largest in the world. To telegraph that journey, we need a partner like Standard Chartered Ventures.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. And in all this rosy affair, there must be challenges that you face as fintechs. So maybe we start with you. You're facing as a fintech.
Okay, it's a little bit hard to pick because pretty much everything is a challenge. But I'm going to take one which is at the root of a lot of the challenges, is visibility. I mean, it's a crowded space out there. And however, excellent our solution for people to know it exists. And then there are a lot of cascading effects from this. It's hard to be known and therefore hard to have the visibility into keys or even simply people that are potentially looking for your solutions. And there's even a corollary to this is that it's making hiring difficult because your ability to attract talent, if you're not, is also hard. So building your team and growing your team can also be impacted by this. So challenges, but if I had to pick to break through the noise and be visible in the marketplace to your clients, your prospects, and the talent which you need to hire in order to grow?
In a growing business is significantly hard. I think if you look at how we are organized, we've got a development team out of Beijing, we've got a team in Singapore and a team in Nairobi. To have all the pieces structured together, to be able to monitor transactions, be able to make the best deals, make sure the treasury team are doing the right transactions, the monitoring, actually getting the customers to comment on the service. You know, that whole experience is, I think that will be one of the top challenges that we have, but we're enjoying it as we go along. And, you know, making sure that we get the right talent into the business. The other one is around partnerships. I think, you know, because you're a smaller business and you're trying to partner with larger businesses, I think this is what the difficult.
Upepo is one of the first IoT managed services companies with asset finance capability, and ourselves as the Navy SEALs of technology. We have to be out there, whether it's raining. We have to install meters, whether it's hot. We stay out until the curfew hour at 9. We go out and we work in the field to make sure devices are sending data. This data around the clock, and we report this data so that it can actually provide the insights and the value that the client requires to solve the business problem that they have. The U.S. Postal Service, we don't close, and we don't actually have business hours per se, but we implement clock. This requires a lot of grit, it requires a lot of energy, and it requires you to wear many different hats at any one time. Sometimes I think like a banker, which I was trained as, and other times I have to think as a plumber, other times I have to think like a logistician, and sometimes I just have potentially hundreds of young men and women who have to go out in the field and put in all these devices to solve the critical problem of water, which is critical during this COVID-19 pandemic. And I would not be able to do this without the foundation that SC Ventures gives me today.
Thank you, Paul from WAPI. Thank you, Olivier from Manithor. Thank you, Kevin from Upepo, for joining us today.